Hello everyone, this is H to the Husky here. I am super excited to be casting these games from you. They are going to be from the WCG Open Qualifiers. These are the official replays, so thank you for everyone tuning in. You can also be catching them on my channel as well, which is HuskyStarcraft. So this is going to be from the finals of the very first qualifier. So there is going to be 8 total qualifiers, and the person who wins each of those qualifiers will be able to go and move on through the WCG and basically compete against the best StarCraft players from all around the world, not only Korea, but also other countries as well. So whoever wins this matchup is going to be winning the first qualifier. So no surprise, we have IdrA spawning up here in the top right side. He is in the finals of the very first qualifier. If he's able to take this, he doesn't need to even play him anymore. In the bottom left side is going to be TQ State, who I do not know that much about, but he is going to be Red Protoss. This will be a PvZ. The first map is going to be Xel'Naga Caverns. So again, guys, this is from WCG, which means anyone can participate. There's going to be 7 more qualifiers running all the way through September 18th. So you do have some time to play through those, but definitely get in as quickly as possible. And registration is free and is also open at us.wcg.com. So if you guys want to play in the WCG, go check it out right there. There'll be a link down below and all that stuff. But if you are a spectator like me, then you will enjoy these games quite heavily. And again, any of the players out there from North America. This is the North American qualifiers. There will be qualifiers for the rest of the world, so that's why it is called the World Cyber Games. And yeah, anyone can participate, which is freaking amazing. This is going to be a best of 5, and right now you can see TQ State, I'll probably just be calling him State as this game progresses on, is going to be trying to delay that expansion, but I really like what IdrA did. He sent out a second drone to try and delay, or to try and prevent the probe from setting up a pylon. He was successful, and was able to get his hatchery down there. It was not delayed that great of a deal. He does have his spawning pool already completed, so he'll most likely be squeezing out a couple of Zerglings. Doesn't have any Zerglings on the field quite yet. Some players decide to get 2 Zerglings. Some will go up to 4. Very rarely you'll see 6 unless you think your opponent is going to be rushing you. But now that this drone is loose inside the main base, IdrA knows that that's really not going to happen. He's just going to be seeing that one gateway. And the research time here is 1:40. These games were played before the last patch, so moving forward the games will be played on the later patches. But you just got to remember that does mean warp gate technology a little bit sooner. And then, yeah. It just is going to change this game a lot. Infestors are still as fast as they were before. Spore crawlers still take a long time to burrow. All those things are very important to note. 1 Zergling getting taken out here, which is a minor victory for TQ State. And did the drone survivor get taken out? It looks like the drone survived. It's still actually inside the Protoss main base. IdrA could easily... Okay, so State is actually going for an early 4-gate here. He's not even trying to hide it from this drone. IdrA, does he already know about it? Yes, look, IdrA has already spotted this quite easily, so he knows exactly what's on the way. And 4-gating against a Zerg who knows how to hold it off will rarely work, but I think State realizes I need to put pressure on IdrA early, which is exactly what he's going to do right now. IdrA going to be bringing down his 2 queens. He does have his Roach Warren on the way already. IdrA should be fine here. I think players have gone against a 4-gate many times. Look at this. This pylon placement, surprisingly good. I have not seen this before, where if you have a unit right here to spot, you can just warp in and the pylon cannot be taken out at all. Pretty crafty play right there, but IdrA has a lot of Zerglings now, 4 Roaches on the way. This is why it becomes exceedingly difficult to hold this off as a, to actually make this work as a Protoss player. But he was able to kill a lot of Zerglings there, but he did at the same time lose Zealot. Got to be focusing down the Spine Crawler as well. It does focus to cancel. The Stalker trying to get out of here as quickly as possible. More Zealots warping in. However, Zealots versus Roach will just come down to a micro battle for IdrA, which is something he can easily win. And I don't know, it looks like our Protoss player completely skipped getting any more gas. You can see his gas income is at 0. So just now got to start getting gas. It may have been a slight misclick trying to kill these with this Zealots. Never a good choice unless he can get some more Stalkers in here to back them up. At the same time, this Queen is going to go down as well. IdrA not really crumbling here, though. It may look like he doesn't have much, but guess what? 24 Zerglings on the way. The supply count heavily favoring the Zerg right now. So once these 24 Zerglings are out, IdrA should have no trouble at all in holding this off. A couple of drones brought off the line as well. 6 more Zerglings are going to be on the way, and yes, this will get cleaned up quite readily by IdrA. Looking at the units lost here, you can see both players losing several units, but once the pylons get taken out, then they will start to favor IdrA once again. So that attack did not work, and this is why you rarely see players foregate a Zerg player, especially someone who has really insanely good micro like IdrA. I think what State's kind of mindset was in that was he wanted to try and just take advantage of IdrA's fact that he loves macro. And what I mean by macro is just expanding early, getting lots of units early, getting drones early, which, while not so useful in the early game for defending, are extremely useful in the late game as far as making a ton of units. So we did see, how many workers do we see killed there? 8 workers were killed by the Protoss player. And if we do look at the units tab, 11 drones to 20 probes, which is a huge deal, but unfortunately for our Protoss player, he's in a situation where you're 8 minutes into a game and you have 0 tech. Now, he is wisely going to be following this up with some sentries just to force field the ramp, prevent these Zerglings from causing too much damage. And I don't know if IdrA is going to scout around there or not. Don't use a force field there, State. I know it's tempting. You don't want to do it until you absolutely have to. Looks like IdrA may try and poke up here just a little bit. All IdrA is doing with this is just being annoying. He doesn't want to lose these units, but he does want to force his opponent to use those force fields. And at this point, you can see State going to be chrono boosting out a lot of workers as well. He does know that he caused a little bit of damage to IdrA's economy, but that's the thing about Zerg, is even though IdrA lost some workers here, he kind of knows that our Protoss player isn't going to have anything anytime soon, so he can just start making drones. So even if he's had a huge drone disadvantage, look at this, already tied up the drones, and will be back on his feet as far as the economy goes in just a couple of seconds here, and there's really nothing the Protoss can do about it. Now, I'm curious to see if State is going to try and move out with these Zealots and Sentries to try and take IdrA by surprise again and punish him for droning, which may work. I mean, it could potentially work. But by the time he gets all the way out across the map, there is just more and more roaches there to deal with it. And here he goes right now. So IdrA, right now, look at this. IdrA sees a lot of Zealots and some Sentries, which means, okay, I'll just make some roaches and I should be just fine. Does have Zerglings on the way, though, instead. And trying to do a counterattack there. It's not going to work as these Zerglings are a little bit too slow, and there is no Stalkers there to deal with it. So it seems as if State's idea here is to put on some pressure to IdrA just to allow the Protoss player to expand. You can see him gathering up some resources, and IdrA wisely scouts down here looking for the expansion and will just run directly into the main base. So not a counterattack, but running by with one Zergling, sees exactly what's going on, and IdrA is going to have the biggest grin on his face I think he's ever had, as he is so far ahead right now. His expansion timing's ahead, his worker count is ahead, and his tech is good against what his opponent has, as he does have these roaches and soon to be speedlings. So all of these units that our Protoss player made are virtually worthless at this point in the game. IdrA is just going to have to sit back, macro up, which is exactly what he's doing. He's playing this so smart. I would say that IdrA would make a mistake if he tried to attack right now. Or at least attack a little bit earlier, because instead of attacking and trying to end it right away, he instead made drones. Now he has a pretty sizable army. You can see 74 units to 58 supply, rather, and force fielding on the right side, which is pretty nice. Got to prevent those roaches from getting in there. So that was pretty clutch by State, preventing those roaches from ending the game right then. So IdrA just needs to watch out for those, as there is a lot of sentries here. I'm surprised to see an additional wave of Sentries and Zealots added. At this point, you really need to start getting out some Stalkers, just because you have so many Sentries that force fields aren't going to help you. All they're going to do is delay the inevitable. And there goes the Zerglings right inside the main base. Does warp in a Zealot perfectly there to prevent that from happening. And this Robo right now is doing nothing. He is not producing an Observer, not that he needs to, because he knows what his opponent's doing. He is not producing an Immortal. I think it's because he just does not have the income he needs. Just now transferring over these workers. Income tab shows a huge advantage to IdrA, as he is going to start taking out these rocks right now. And his expansion looking good on drones. Main looking even better. Does have his lair on the way as well. And IdrA is, again, playing this exceptionally well, where he could try to attack to end this, but he realizes, okay, there's lots of force fields, so what am I going to do? He's going to follow it up with a lair, and he can do one of two things. Well, really, he could do whatever he wants, but he could go for Roach upgrades, which is exactly what he's doing, or he could go for Hydras, or take a third and go for Mutas. It looks like he's going to take that third regardless, because he knows he's super safe. He is in about as good of shape as he can be, and the main reason I say that as well is because if you fail a 4-gate, and it's not an economic 4-gate, he really did a very aggressive style wave after wave 4-gate. It wasn't a fake 4-gate to try and make your opponent overreact or anything like that. He really committed quite a bit. You are way behind. So now he's going to move out. This is really smart, because look at this. IdrA right now has missile weapons attack level 1. Overlord upgrades on the way, Burrow, and the Roach upgrade. So if there's any time to attack, it is essentially right now. This is the only timing window that'll work. And IdrA does have a supply advantage, but 10 of that is going to be in the worker count. So here comes the attack right now. Tried to force field all these Zerglings, almost gets them all. That would have been huge if he trapped all those Zerglings, but the Speedlings of IdrA are proving to be super effective Pokemon style against this army, and IdrA is just going to start making some more Zerglings to deal with it. Force Field's going to be trapping these Roaches, but the problem is that the Zealots are running directly into the Roaches, so the Force Fields aren't doing anything, and the Immortal does have 4 kills, but I feel like most of those kills are Zerglings when you really want the Immortal to kill the Roaches. Units lost here, definitely not good for the Protoss. More Force Fields going down, and using them really quickly. He's really not delaying the use of the Force Field. I love how IdrA's just backing up these couple of Roaches here to do as much damage as possible, and still killing off a couple of Roaches here by our Protoss player. And that's everything. He's doing everything he can to stay in this. He has kept his Immortals alive, so he does have both Immortals now. And Forge going to be going down here. This is one thing you want to do as a Protoss, is try and wall in this as much as possible, just so Zerglings don't run by. And if they do run by, they have to kind of take the long route, and it's a nice narrow choke to keep units in there. So we do have another Immortal on the way, but IdrA was able to hang on to this hatchery. So a high yield expansion up and running for a macro Zerg is very terrifying. And 7 Hydralisks on the way. IdrA playing remarkably well in this game. I mean, he did hold off that 4-gate perfectly, which means the Zerg, it's really only a matter of time before the Protoss player is in a very uncomfortable position after not doing a successful 4-gate. Because you can see, like, there's 3 Immortals here, but what in this army is good against Hydras? Not a lot. I mean, Protoss usually don't have the hardest time with Hydras because, well, they can get out Colossus, which are very powerful against the Hydralisks, but when you're going Immortal Gateway units, it can be tough because the only units taking additional damage from your units are going to be the Roaches, and with Zerglings mixed in there, it can be hard to focus fire. So whenever IdrA decides to engage, could be the final battle. One force field wall will prevent these units from running down here, and we'll be able to kill off a couple. Just need to make sure to keep the Zealots alive. Always important to keep those on a separate hotkey if possible, as the army is, it looks like it's all grouped onto one hotkey, which can be difficult to micromanage correctly, which is exactly what you're seeing, is just a Protoss army getting picked apart methodically. And this is where 151 supply to 106. It looks like IdrA is going to handily take this battle. I don't think we've seen very good usage of Guardian Shield in these battles, which can be very important here. But I mean, there's just nothing you can do against this many Hydras. Hydras annihilate Protoss in this situation. So State giving a very excitable and very nice GG there. So we are going to go on to game number 2. Again, this is going to be a best of 5. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, 81 can play in this tournament. If you decide 8 players will advance to the grand final. So that is from just North America. There will be tournaments elsewhere, and I will be along for most of the ride, casting a lot of the games. So hope you guys enjoy it. We're going to go into the next game, and I'll see you guys next time.